one slice of pizza lighter at dinner.
Si llegan a disparar, sigan las instrucciones de nosotros. Que si yo les digo que se bajen a un sitio, ustedes se bajan. Si les digo que permanezcan, ustedes permanecen. Bueno, vámonos ya.
So it's the 13th year of the Chavez regime here in Venezuela, and his Bolivarian revolution has left the country deeply divided along political lines. Despite its egalitarian aims, the economic divide between the haves and the have-nots remains staggering. Despite all this, in this election year, the issue that will decide the future of this country is violence. Venezuela has become known as one of the most dangerous countries in the world, and last year alone, Caracas had more violent deaths than Baghdad. With a population a tenth the size of the United States, Venezuela last year managed to record more murders than America, an astonishing 19,000 violent deaths in a population of 29 million.
If you want to compare with wars going on in other countries, they don't have that death toll every week. So we have to ask ourselves, are we in a state of war?
With the protection of Caracas' finest, we headed to Petare, a sprawling slum where a shocking percentage of the city's violence happens, to get a lay of the criminal landscape.
There's probably two ways to go to this neighborhood, with the guys who run it from the inside and the guys who patrol it from the outside. Either way, it's the guys with guns.
Estamos entrando en el barrio más grande de Venezuela, José Félix Río de Petare. Estos son los segundos barrios más grandes de América Latina.
I was feeling okay about this until the 800 disclaimers about what to do when and if we come under fire, and here's the evacuation, hide under the tires, and all that kind of made it a little more real.
We spoke with Luis Cedeno, the head of Paz Activa, an NGO that tracks violence in Venezuela.
What violence you would see in Petare? You would see gang violence. When these gangs have a shootout, if you're in the middle of the shootout, you're gonna get hurt.
The craziest part is that this isn't organized narco violence. This is petty, you looked at my sister sideways, street bullshit.
If someone turns the corner and shoots at him and misses, either you or I is gonna die.
Venga la mano allá arriba.
In Caracas, living in Petare counts as probable cause.
Que tenga algo me dice, ¿quién tiene algo?
There are actually little arsenals in every barrio. You can go there and you can actually buy a gun, buy ammunition, access to grenades. You can actually rent the gun if you don't want to buy it, and it's a lot cheaper.
Puede ser como muchos están ahí, tienen problemas con delincuentes de otros barrios. Entonces puede ser que hayan armas ocultas, pero en este caso no había.
Just made a stop here on the patrol. Looks like a guy was not just drunk driving, but actually drinking while he was driving. And apparently drinking and driving isn't a big deal here.
On an average day in Venezuela, 58 people are murdered.
It's my nervous stick.
The entire time we were with the cops, the radio was crackling with reports of killings all around the city, and we were soon in pursuit of an armed suspect. With over 90% of crimes in Venezuela going unsolved, it wasn't quite a surprise that this call ended without a suspect.
Bienvenidos a Caracas loca, donde cada segundo que pasa es un abreboca.
Has crime in this area gotten better or worse over the course of your career?
Las cifras han empeorado. Los homicidios cuesta un poco más bajarlos, ya que contamos con poca logística, con poco personal y muy poco apoyo político. Somos muy pocos. El gobierno debe invertir mayor cantidad de presupuesto en las policías, en el Ministerio Público, en los jueces, que son los tribunales, y en el área penitenciaria, que son las cárceles. Te ves toda la vista de Caracas, es un valle. Aquí te puedes asomar y puedes ver el tipo de vivienda que hacen acá arriba.
Although the slums have always had problems with violence, it's only in the last decade that it has risen to war zone levels. So the question is, what the hell happened in the last 10 years? Venezuela is ruled by socialist superhero Hugo Chavez, a man who, at a glance, seems completely out of his mind.
¡Yanquis de mierda! ¡Váyanse al carajo 100 veces! Ayer estuvo el diablo aquí.
Despite its third world crime stats, Venezuela isn't exactly a poor country. Its massive oil industry produces 2.5 million barrels a day, most of which is consumed by the United States, and the country has larger proven reserves than Saudi Arabia. Before he took power, foreign companies like ExxonMobil made huge profits from Venezuela's oil fields. But when Chavez nationalized the industry and sent the multinationals packing, all those profits went directly into government accounts. But despite this, and after 13 years of power, he still shifts the blame for the problems of violence and poverty onto previous governments.
Y todavía estamos sufriendo los efectos del desastre de los años 80, los años 90.
But in October, the Bolivarian Revolution faces its toughest electoral challenge ever from Enrique Capriles Radonsky, who's hoping to tap into the public's pent-up frustration over the violence issue, among other things. But even with this strong opponent and his fierce battle with cancer, Chavez is still plowing forward with his socialist agenda.
¡Viva el pueblo bolivariano! ¡Viva la revolución socialista! ¡Viva Venezuela! ¡Viva Chávez!